don't bust again, no Africans. You don't bust. Make una gather come watch this video while they show una, because this video I will show una will expose everything where the West done the plan for South Africa. Una know say since West South Africa join BRICS, many of them done the vex, and they find way by all means to take destabilize South Africa. Make una watch this very video when this our African brother where we say himself still dey analyze geopolitical news, wetin he expose about wetin dey go on for South Africa now. Make una watch this video and make una make sure say una share this video. Hello my people.
Have now reached an end. Saddam Hussein and his sons must leave Iraq within 48 hours. Their refusal to do so will result in military conflict, commenced at a time of our choosing.
The United States and the world faced a choice. Gaddafi declared he would show no mercy to his own people. He compared them to rats and threatened to go door to door to inflict punishment.
It was Muammar Gaddafi, Obama said, who was the main reason for war. He was about to launch a massacre of his own people.
It was not in our national interest to let that happen.
And so the attack began.
Day by day, we are moving closer to Baghdad. Day by day, we are moving closer to victory.
What relationship does South Africa have with the USA? We all familiar of when Americans want to invade a country. They first start by bringing instability within that country, taking down the economy of that country, trying to destroy every strategy that that country can produce. And here we're talking about such countries as Iraq, Yemen, Afghanistan, Libya, and many more countries around the world. With all this being said, the next question to ask ourselves is, do South Africans have to fear about these strategies of the USA or not? How do people of South Africa have to prepare themselves in this case? Well, we're going to find out that in this video. It's been for some times now that we have started noticing that Americans, they are trying to bring instability inside South Africa. And all this started from the moment when South Africa decided to remain neutral in the United Nations vote in this ongoing conflict between Ukraine and Russia. Since then, the relationship between USA with South Africa becomes so dramatic. Do you know why? Because Americans, they get so jealous to see South Africa remaining loyal and faithful to the Russia Federation. Therefore, Americans start applying their strategy. Here comes number one that make us believe that America, they are applying to invade South Africa. Last year in October 22, we sleep and wake up just to find a post trending on social media, which was launched by the American ambassadors warning South Africa of a possible terrorist attack in Sandton. And their mission here was to make sure that everyone get to panic about this so-called terror attack in Sandton. And they did so by not even informing the government of South Africa. They decided to go on social media and announce this. But President Ramaphosa, as the President of the Republic of South Africa, could not sit and keep quiet about it. He had to react, and this is what he said.
It was quite unfortunate that the US government issued that type of warning without having had deep dive type of discussions with us. But following that, we were able to engage them and to get to understand precisely where this warning or information has come from. We are in the course of doing precisely that, because warnings such as those do send a lot of panic amongst our people. And South Africans should be best informed by the South African government. Our agencies, as they are getting better at their job of securing our people, are alert and are looking very closely at this type of threat, and they continue to do so. So any form of alert will come from the government of the Republic of South Africa, and it is unfortunate that another government should issue such a threat as to send panic amongst our people.
People are just to come back and give on the Ogbonga news where they happen inside our world. I still remain your one and only Nelly Marvin, aka Antiogberaga. If not today be your first time when you see our video, do make sure you follow and like our page for more update. For this news I go show now, and I will see say the West, they don't they run head scatter, they don't they run up and down because inside their carcass now. Fire don't they burn for there. For this video why they show now, and I'll see where US congressmen don't they gather say like this here. Say may they sign on to be may US military enter Cuba and go bombard all Chinese military installation where they build they put. You know, say when we they tell and I say wait till they go like do another people, they not go like me they do unto them. See us now. They don't they run head scatter for their camp. Only one base where Chinese just want put for Cuba. Whereas America militarize all the whole Chinese. They surround Chinese with military base around them. Like say tomorrow not day. Mona watch this video as US congressmen they holla the kata where they soft now for Cuba. Watch and make on share this video, my people.
To all of my hawk friends on the committee who think I'm too much of a dove, this amendment is an authorization to use military force given to President Biden to take out the Chinese assets in Cuba. Part of China's leveraged buyout of Russia has been them taking control of Russian property and Russian assets in Cuba and then vastly improving those. So whereas we didn't really care too much about the Russians having 1960s technology 90 miles south of Florida, we are increasingly concerned and should be a lot more concerned that China right now is functionally turning Cuba into a stationary aircraft carrier right off the coast of Florida. And so I do not offer this authorization to use military force as in any way an effort to spark or provoke war. I loathe war. I stand against war. I try to wind them down when we can. But in this case, I believe giving the president the authority to take out these Chinese assets in Cuba might be the very thing necessary to prevent war, to deter the Chinese from putting this in. And it is amazing to me how much we have allowed the Monroe Doctrine to just atrophy right out from underneath us. We would never have allowed these types of encroachments by China into Latin America, into the Bahamas, the Caribbean, Cuba, if we really cared about the Monroe Doctrine. So while the Foreign Affairs Committee has unfortunately asserted equities here, and I'll have to withdraw the amendment, I do think we need to have a very serious conversation about what these Chinese buildups in Cuba mean, and we cannot view them through the same lens that we viewed Russia's participation in Cuba's military enterprise.
Okay, my people, when we tell the West, make it easy, mind the way where we say that they provoke all these people. Some go they say, "Mo no they talk like that, mo no they talk like that." Yes, because we they fear. May humans no go die, may they no go kill all of us, because once all these global elites don't give them order, that they like to act on the order of global elites, not considering the human population. Mona see now inside this video where they show now the Russians, they don't go activate all their nuclear sites where they get, they don't go put them in service. And this one where they go put in service, now be that one where they feel they launch Satan 2 nuclear warhead, where we say now that one be the gbogbo to go where Russia until they use till they finish the West. More watch this video and I go still see how the Russians still they train their people, and they definitely believe say they want make sure say nobody go take over their land where they call Crimea. Not me talk and make on a watch and hear for on a safe. Make on a share this video, my people. I hail on.
The most important task here is the development of the nuclear triad, which is a key guarantee of Russia's military security and global stability. Already about half of the units and formations of the strategic missile forces are equipped with the latest Yars complexes. The troops are being re-equipped with modern missile systems with the Avangard hypersonic glide vehicle. In the near future, the first launches of the Sarmat complex with a new heavy missile will take up combat duty.
So this is indeed a significant piece of news. President Vladimir Putin announcing the deployment into combat duty of the Sarmat nuclear complex. The Sarmat system is unrivaled in the West in terms of its destructive power. Over 135 feet high, it can deploy up to 10 separate warhead systems via the hypersonic missile system and glide systems. It's also capable of deployment from land-based systems like the Yars system, which is a mobile launcher, and Russia's nuclear submarine fleet. Of course, Western reaction to this is one of concern, but President Putin has suggested that he intends to develop Russia's nuclear deterrent, to develop the Russian triad, as he said, and that it's a key component in Russia's defensive capability. And given the current geopolitical situation, it's unsurprising that President Putin has pushed for the Sarmat system, which has been dubbed the Satan II by NATO forces, into service. Shay Bowes, RT in St. Petersburg.
Die Freiwilligengruppe Nummer 33.
The 33rd Vasily Margelov Volunteer Battalion. Who are these soldiers? Why are they here? We're about to find out.
In April this year, there was a combat order to set up a new battalion. We started recruiting volunteers. The overall number of troops will account for more than 500. So far, we're nearly half-staffed. The unit has a reconnaissance and counter-sabotage role.
Почему?
Why is this unit named after Vasily Margelov?
In 1944, Vasily Margelov commanded a division that was the first to cross the Dnieper River. He liberated the city of Kherson during the Great Patriotic War.
Немножечко о подготовке, ребят, можете рассказать?
Could you tell us more about the preparation?
Самые разнообразные.
There are many aspects like medicine, engineering, tactical and specialized training, topography.
Патриотизм нашей родине.
It's all about patriotism. We want to help our motherland to dislodge the enemy.
Чтобы у всех было мирное небо над головой, и наши дети.
We want our children and our parents to live in peace. We have to drive the enemy out.
So the enemy can't enter Crimea.
The enemy will be defeated. Victory will be ours. It cannot be otherwise.
I made the decision to come here to help the country and the guys. I quickly became friends with everyone. The team is good. The commanders are excellent, quite strict. The discipline is strong.
We also visited the battalion commander, whose call sign is Hans. He's got a lot of experience.
Какой из ваших наград вы?
What award are you most proud of?
Well, I took much effort to earn all of them, but I think it's the latest medal for courage, which I got during the special operation.
Hans has first-hand knowledge of the Ukrainian forces' attitude towards civilians.
Ukraine doesn't think about civilians. Before special operation started, they constantly shot Donetsk and Lugansk. Civilians live there, but they just think they are no one, just strangers. That is why people's lives, their health, are not taken into account by the enemy. Even prisoners of war say that they did not even hit at specific coordinates, but simply at directions.
As we were told, the volunteer unit has fighters not only from all over Russia, there are soldiers from Odessa and Kiev as well. Shoulder to shoulder they train to be able to complete the tasks assigned to them in the future.
It's my people, I still remain your one and only Nelly Marvin, aka Antiogberaga. Make sure say share this video, mostly Biafrans and Igbo people where they watch, our Igbo brothers and sisters. Make pay attention and share this video, because this one update about what won't happen for Southeast recently and now. Make just watch this broadcast where be say Simon Ekpa just drop now, and the broadcast they shake everywhere based on we not know why they order this kind sit at home. E be like say another kasala one buzz between Biafra and Nigeria government again. Mona watch this video and make una share this video widely so that we will fit save life. Make people not for say they not hear this information. My people, Mona share this video.
Kano is not released. We will come with more tough, very tough, I am telling you, very, very tough mechanism is coming. After this 1 week sit at home, we will come. It may not be sit at home again. Believe me, it may not be sit at home. It is going to be something else. So we are coming. But this 1 week sit at home, I want everyone to pay attention. From the 3rd to the 5th of July, everywhere in Biafra land will be ordered lock and key. Don't go out to, you know, as I am saying it now, what they are going to do is to start burning everywhere. They will say, oh, Simon Ekpa have given order. You know, they will burn this one and burn that one, and they will think that I'm going to run away. I'm not running away. I've just said it. Do not go out so they don't make you a scapegoat to use it to blackmail Biafra. Don't give them opportunity to hurt you and take your video and start posting it. Oh, Simon Ekpa has started again. This one and that. Do not give them opportunity to do that. Listen and listen very attentively. Do not go out so that you will not fall a victim of Nigeria government. From the 3rd to the 5th of July, every Biafra land will be under lock and key. On the 6th of July, you are going to go to the market, buy groceries, buy things for yourself, for your family, and do your business. On the 6th, we want every market to open. Then on the 7th of July to 10th, everywhere will be locked down. Don't say we did not tell you. You know, Nigeria, there are this kind of, that like things looking for who to kill and who to eat. Do not come out and say, Simon Ekpa this, Simon Ekpa that. We have been in phase 1. This is phase. I am going to publish this. This is a lesson. This should be studied in every unit. It's a lesson. How Fulani conquered all of you. In broad daylight, Koro conquered you and took over your land. Who knows you? Asoku Kandiara. Fulani took over your land. Who took Barakato? Came to, hey, we are not Biafra. We are Portuguese. We are South. We are Nigeria. Do you own any oil well? That says no. You fools. Because Britain understands that if you join Biafra, they can no longer have free access to your oil and your gas fields. You do not understand it. It's common sense. Divided you fall. Phase 2. They moved to put all arms. Ebe, gun. That's all. Arms means ebe, gun and bullet. Fulani moved to put every gun and bullet under Fulani control. How did they do it? You ask. Our brother told us how they did it. This evening I will tell you how they managed to do it in very simple arithmetic. Chief of Army Staff, Fulani. Chief of Naval Staff, Fulani. Which means that the head of the army of the whole of Nigeria is a Fulani man. Chief of Army Staff, the controller of, because when I say Chief of Army Staff, some of them because they no longer teach you anything in your schools. You may not understand what it means. Chief of Army Staff means the man, the that controls the army. It's Fulani. Chief of Naval Staff, you know those that wear white in the desert, those morons, they wear white. Somebody from somewhere where there is no water, from an arid desert, is the Chief of Naval Staff. They didn't go to water. Or should I say armaments on top of water? Chief of Naval Staff is we have been
talking about Ukrainian Qatar offense, where we return and say sometimes the Ukrainians make little or no gain. Some of them they say na me just choose to they talk like that. Some of them they call me pro-Russia. But wetin are the report they give on and wetin be say yeah they truly they happen for frontline and now wetin be say all the whole media outlets they report out there. Apart from some those Western media where we say they know the great they turn now which they really they go on for frontline. So make on use on an ear to hear this one more and not saying I missed it or camp. This one Western media, not be Russian news outlet or any independent news. This one a Russian news outlet when they talk about this Ukrainian counter offense, how they really dey go, and I go use on a ear to hear say Ukrainian they make little or no gain, and the counter offense not really easy for them. Make una watch this video and make una share this video.
How do you think the counteroffensive is playing out?
It's not working very well for now.
Why do you say that?
Well, a lot of losses in vehicles, tanks, and soldiers on the Ukrainian side, and the front line is not moving much. But Ukraine has still a lot of reserve, a lot of tanks, and depend how the next phase of the counteroffensive will be launched. But for now, well, the Russians are holding the positions, and when we speak about reconstruction, once again, we need to end the war. But most of the destructions are in the areas that have been conquered by the Russians, so you have to first, anyway, to reconquer them in order to rebuild.
Yeah,
and right now, it's not going very well.
Alexander Flipenko, I wonder if you agree with that. Do you think the counteroffensive isn't going very well, or is it really just sort of too early for us to really know, because we're only about 10 days into this major counteroffensive?
Well, since I'm not a war specialist, it's difficult for me to say, but I can judge from what I see in the Russian press and Russian sources that President Putin and Sergei Shoigu, the head of Ministry of Defense, they, for past few weeks, they stopped glossing over the course of the war in Ukraine. And when in fall 2022, Ukrainian army liberated large parts of Kharkov and Kherson regions, the Russian authorities, they didn't comment on it at all. And now the situation has changed. Putin now frequently goes on camera, he discusses the situation on the front, and what does it tell us? It makes it clear that Putin expresses his personal opinion, and he takes only now I think, he takes personal responsibility for the outcome. And if Putin feared the imminent collapse of Russian army now, it's unlikely that he would have appeared before the cameras. And Sergei Shoigu is also talking publicly about the progress of Ukraine. He denies any Ukrainian success, of course, but he acknowledges the increased attacks. And Yevgeny Prigozhin, the head of Wagner Group, he speaks frequently about Ukrainian counteroffensive, and according to him, huge territories are given to Ukraine right now. So now something is changing. They at least, Putin and Shoigu at least stopped glossing over the course of the counteroffensive, and Yevgeny Prigozhin is quite open, saying that the counteroffensive is going quite well for Ukraine, for the Ukrainian side. But again, I think that the fact that Putin is appearing before the cameras and speaking about it now, and I think it shows that he doesn't think that Russian army would collapse soon, or that something will change drastically from the Russian side. But again, I'm not a military expert.
Well, you mentioned Vladimir Putin several times. He's been speaking about this today, actually. Let's have a listen to what Vladimir Putin said a short while ago.
As I've already said, as is well known, the Ukrainian armed forces started on June 4th using their strategic reserves. Oddly enough, currently we're seeing a certain lull. It has to do with the fact that the enemy is suffering serious losses.
And Alexandra Rodnyansk in London, I do appreciate you're an economic advisor to the Ukrainian president, but I wonder if I could just get your reaction to Vladimir's comments there that there's been some kind of lull in the Ukrainian counteroffensive.
Yes, exactly. And without giving much away, obviously, we're all, sitting in different cities far away from the front line. So I think that's, I appreciate these honest comments. But I will say this. Look, first of all, you can't compare the current counteroffensive to what was going on last year. Last year, we had the surprise effect when we were moving into around Kharkiv to liberate these areas, and also in Kherson. The Russians didn't expect it. They didn't have time to prepare. This time around, however, they had plenty of time to prepare. More than half a year they were building up, very deep defense lines around those areas. So there's no way you could have expected us to move at the same speed. We wish we were moving faster, but it is what it is. At the same time, I will also say there's been a lot of discussion in Western media and in political circles all this time, whether we should be getting one form of weapon supplies or another form, whether we should be getting fighter jets or not. Well, look, we haven't been getting fighter jets fast enough, so there shouldn't be any questions about why the counteroffensive is proceeding at a speed that we're seeing and not any faster. Our troops are obviously exposed to Russian attacks from the air, and we can't really respond to that effectively. So, of course, we're having potentially more losses because of that. And, of course, the counteroffensive cannot proceed at the same pace as it would have if we had every single instrument there is. Now, that's very unfortunate, but it is what it is. At the same time, we do have successes, right? And we do recognize, everyone who looks at the situation, including the Russian side, recognize that there is some successes. Now, it's no surprise that the Russian side will always exaggerate the losses that we have. Truth is, they're not as large as they make them seem. And at the same time, it is a war. So, look, I won't comment about all the details, but we're pressing ahead. We're working on what we're supposed to be working, which is liberating Ukraine, and we're not backing down because we really have no option.